And everybody will start here in just a minute as people enter the webinar. So just sit tight and we'll be with you very quick soon. Okay, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Dan Moshavi. I serve as the Thomas and Evelyn Page Dean here of the Fowler College of Business at San Diego State University. Welcome to our President's Lecture Series in conjunction with the Charles W. Hostler Institute in World Affairs. We're honored to host the Hostler Institute in the Fowler College, where we take a global mindset toward all of our programs. The Hostler Institute supports coursework and activities surrounding international diplomacy and global business, student study abroad, and international research. Following this presentation, there will be time devoted to questions and answers. Please submit your questions for Ambassador Martínez in the Q&A panel on the lower right side of the screen. We'll try to get to as many of those questions as we possibly can. I'm delighted that so many of you have joined us for this event, which is offered to students, faculty, staff, and community in proud partnership with the San Diego State University's Office of the President. It's now my honor to introduce San Diego State University President Adela de la Torre. Dr. de la Torre became the first woman and first Chicana to serve as the permanently appointed president of SDSU in 2018. She's guided the university in the launch of a strategic plan that aims to transform the lives of students, amplify research, and further engage SDSU's communities in driving new opportunities and economic development. Foundation of her vision is the growth and development of SDSU as a university committed to teaching, research, and creativity, and to expand and expanded and inclusive access to undergraduate and postgraduate degrees. I will now turn the program over to President de la Torre.
Thank you, Dean Moshavi, and thank you to all who have joined us today. I also extend a special welcome to two very special guests today. The Ambassador of Panama to the United States, His Excellency Ramón E. Martínez de la Guardia, and Mrs. Chenye Hostler. For 82 years, the Charles W. Hostler Institute on World Affairs has provided San Diego State University and our broader community with a platform for spirited engagement on a wide range of international issues. The Institute also serves as a gathering place, both in person and with Zoom events like today's, virtually, for our students, faculty, and our broader community to discuss interpretations of international affairs and the policies and issues of our time. As respectful discussion and debate has become increasingly scarce in today's society, it is more important than ever to have this institute where the motto is "A titor el altera paz," or let the other side be heard. We owe a debt of gratitude to Mrs. Hostler and the late Ambassador Charles Hostler, who endowed this institute in 2004. Since the passing of Ambassador Hostler in 2014, Mrs. Hostler has continued this legacy of generosity and distinction. She was born in Taiwan and came to America to pursue her education. A proud graduate of SDSU, she enjoyed a very successful career that exposed her to people and cultures around the world. That desire to understand and connect with people and perspectives lives through the Hostler Institute on World Affairs. I'd like to invite Nancy Nicholson, the director of the Hostler Institute, to provide a few words for Mrs. Hostler. Nancy?
Thank you, President de la Torre. Mr. Ambassador, we are honored to have you with us today. A group of us from San Diego Diplomacy Council just returned from visiting your beautiful country 2 weeks ago. It was so interesting and educational to watch how the Panama Canal locks work up close. We also visited the Parliament, Presidential Palace, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and were given a briefing at the U.S. Embassy. We danced with the indigenous people in the Gamboa rainforest, and it was such a memorable experience, and I will definitely recommend it to all my friends. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your inspiring words, Mrs. Hostler, and thank you for delivering them, Nancy. You are truly inspiring, Chenye, and we appreciate your support. The Institute has hosted distinguished speakers from around the world, including Nobel laureates, world leaders, and ambassadors. Today, we are so fortunate to be joined by another esteemed ambassador, His Excellency Ramón y Martínez de la Guardia, the ambassador of Panama to the United States. In this role, since 2022, Ambassador Martinez has focused on strengthening the relationship between the United States and Panama and advocating for stronger commercial, political, and cultural ties between both nations. Before becoming ambassador, he served 18 years as a corporate and commercial lawyer, as a distinguished member of Bloomberg New Economy Trade Council, and as Panama's Minister of Commerce and Industry, where his term was marked by his creation of 7 new free trade zones and the establishment of 51 new multinational companies in Panama. Ambassador Martinez played a pivotal role in enabling the economic resurgence of Panama during the COVID-19 pandemic, notably realized through the ratification of free trade agreements. Ambassador Martinez earned his law and political science degree from the Santa Maria La Antigua Catholic University in Panama, followed by a master's of business law from the University of Minnesota Law School. His educational pursuits continued as he completed a Master of Business Administration from Aden Business School and UNICEF Business School of Barcelona. He currently resides in Washington, D.C. with his wife and 2 children. With a presentation titled Panama, U.S., a Solid Partnership in the Western Hemisphere, it is my honor and pleasure to welcome Ambassador Martinez. Hola y gracias. Gracias por estar con nosotros. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon. I would just want to thank you, Mrs. Chinier Hostler, President Adela de la Torre, Dean Dan Mochavi, and especially to all of you, distinguished students, faculty, and listeners. It's an honor to be here with all of you here today, although virtually at San Diego State University, which stands not only as one of the top academic institutions in the nation, but also as one of the oldest, cultivating a long-standing culture for education and leadership throughout the decades. Today, I want to take advantage of the Fowler College business to discuss and reflect upon the important changes facing Latin America and share with you all the special partnership that Panama has built with the United States to set ourselves apart in the Western Hemisphere. But to really understand Panama, I want to go first through some of our history, because it's important that you grasp the essence of Panama and its people. And so before the Isthmus of Panama existed, it was just a vast ocean with 2 land masses that today we know as North America and South America. And through volcanic activity and the shifting of the tectonic plates, islands were created where today is the Isthmus of Panama. And with over time, these islands fused together through the accumulation of sediments carried by the ocean currents, forming what is today the Isthmus of Panama. This bridge, completed around 3 million years ago, linked North and South America. This geological event, or miracle of nature, sealed from prehistory our destiny as the world's bridge and our mission of connection. In the colonial era, it was from Panama that Vasco Núñez de Balboa discovered the Pacific Ocean in 1513. Back then, it was called the South Sea, el Mar del Sur. It was also here in Panama that the first Spanish city on the continent's Pacific coast was founded. It was named Nuestra Señora de la Asunción de Panama. That was in 1519. And from that city, expeditions departed that conquered the Inca Empire in Peru in 1532. And from then on, the isthmus positioned itself as one of the most important trade routes in the Americas. The volume, frequency, and value of the trades gave rise to the Portobello Fairs, which took place from 1606 to 1748. It was a fair system that created a mechanism to control trade exchange between the ports of Lima, Peru, and Sevilla in España. From Lima, Peru, they provide silver, and then in Spain, they manufacture goods in Sevilla and then resent to all the Spanish colonies. The discovery of gold in California in early 1850s catalyzed the construction of the Interoceanic Railroad across Panama, and that turned Panama into a pivotal hub for connecting the Atlantic and the Pacific Ocean, and developed a crucial pathway from travelers and transport of goods, making Panama an indispensable transit point. The initial mining boom highlighted Panama's strategic location, attracting French interest in building an interoceanic canal. Though those efforts failed, ultimately the United States took over this monumental task and completed the Panama Canal in 1914. All this brief history is to show why Panama and its people are accustomed to be a place of convergence and trade. This reflects the personality of Panamanians, people that traditionally have been peaceful, not focusing on conflicts, but rather service. As we move into the 20th century, several key events further define modern Panama. The Monetary Convention of 1904 established the parity of the US dollar with the Panamanian currency, and this obviously stands until today. Then in 1948, Panama launched the Colón Free Zone. It was the first major logistic hub in the Americas, revolutionizing the way goods were imported, stored, and then re-exported in the region. The establishment then in 1970 of the International Banking Center of Panama was another step in Panama's evolution as a financial hub. Then in the end of the 20th century, a transformative period for Panama started. On December 31st, 1999, sovereignty over the Panama Canal and the surrounding canal zone was returned to Panama. This transition spurred the development of major maritime ports on both the Atlantic and Pacific sides, establishing Panama as a leader in global maritime logistics with connections to over 152 ports in 54 countries. I also want to underscore that Panama has the two most active ports in Latin America, Balboa and Cristobal, one on the Pacific and one on the Atlantic. And we have over 11 shipping lines, and 5 of the top 10 ports of the region are located in Panama. Everything started after December 31st, 1999, when Panama obviously got the administration of the canal back. Then in 2016, the expansion of the Panama Canal, a $5.5 billion investment, doubled its capacity and allowed larger vessels to pass through, significantly boosting Panama's maritime trade. I want to note that the United States of America is still the single largest user of the canal, and approximately 65% of all the cargo that passes through the canal either originates in or is destined for the United States. And this is remarkable when you consider that 6% of all world maritime trade passes through the Panama Canal. The Panama Canal today facilitates trade with 1,920 ports and serves 170 countries. Put it in perspective, 170 countries. There aren't many countries that are using the canal. But in addition to the maritime platform that I just described, the International Tocumen Airport was also a part that Panama considered of great importance. This expansion also of the International Tocumen Airport, led by Copa Airlines, have positioned Panama as the air hub of the Americas. The World Economic Forum considers Panama's connectivity in the top rankings of air infrastructure. Specifically, in 2017, we made an investment of over $770 million to create a new terminal and improve the functionality of the airport. This expansion allowed the airport in 2022 to increase its capacity from 5.8 million to 16 million passengers per year. But in many ways, this was inevitable. Consider that we need to keep raising the bar and competitiveness of our country. Our airport is ranked as the best airport in Central America and the Caribbean, and 7th best in international flight traffic, and it serves 90 destinations in 39 countries, 24/7. The Panama, the significance of this is that it has positioned Panama as not only the best positioned country geographically, but also in terms of infrastructure. Now, aside from the infrastructure, Panama is also striving on sustainable growth and inclusive policies. Our efforts to combat poverty through targeted social programs and infrastructure development are complemented by governance reforms aimed at improving transparency and combating corruption. We are also dedicated to enhancing human capital through education and vocational training, preparing our workforce for the demands of a future economy focused on technology and services. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about our relationship with the United States. Of course, I started with the 1904 Monetary Convention, the construction of the Panama Canal in 1914, then the reversion of the administration of the Panama Canal to Panama. But in recent years, our relationship has only get stronger. And let's start by something that I think it would be simple to understand. The free trade agreement between Panama and the United States. It is different in a way that the United States signed a free trade agreement with Central America, but with Panama signed a bilateral agreement. And so that highlights the importance of our relationship. And this agreement not only provides duty-free access to the U.S. markets for Panamanian goods and services, but also eliminates tariffs on a wide range of products, facilitating seamless trade between our nations, both ways, from the United States goods and services to Panama and from Panama to the United States. And it also includes provisions on custom administration, investment protection, intellectual property rights, and more. And the importance of this is that it creates a stable and predictable environment for business on both sides, win-win. And I think it's also an important vehicle for the result that the United States is the largest investor in Panama. And we believe that is because of this history, because of the framework and clear rules. Now, the United States, just like Panama, has an enduring interest in a prosperous and stable Western Hemisphere. In the last few years, countries across Latin America who were once among America's closest democratic allies have pivoted away from the United States towards less desirable partners. In September 2021, the presidents of Panama, Costa Rica, and Dominican Republic came together to launch the Alliance for Development in Democracy, an initiative to promote democratic strengthening and economic growth through the tightening of the three countries' commercial, demographic, and cultural ties. The alliance now also counts with the participation of Ecuador. And this is an exciting and promising alliance that represents a collaborative effort by like-minded countries in Latin America to address our shared regional challenges and bolster their relationship with the United States. Panama is also participating in a U.S. initiative called the Americas Partnership for Economic Prosperity, APEP, and that further underscores our dedication to regional economic growth and integration. Through APEP, we collaborate with the United States and over 10 other regional countries to promote shared prosperity, good governance, and sustainable development. As a hub of hubs, Panama is well positioned to contribute meaningfully to the three design tracks of APEP: foreign affairs, trade, and finance. I firmly believe that we need to keep engaging, not just with the United States, but with the region. And this is something that will completely change the competitiveness of our continent. In recognizing the critical need to safeguard and diversify global supply chains, Panama has taken proactive measures to get involved in nearshoring initiatives, from bolstering infrastructure to fostering a skilled workforce. We have approached this challenge from multiple angles. Recently, Panama was selected as one of only 3 countries in the hemisphere to be a strategic partner of the United States under the CHIPS and Science Act, enhancing our role in the global semiconductor supply chain. This partnership, underscored by a significant investment from the United States Department of State, positions Panama to strengthen its technological and manufacturing capabilities. Now, as we set our sights on the assembly, testing, and packaging of semiconductors, we believe that our strategic location, coupled with our commitment to innovation and collaboration, positions us as a valuable partner in this pivotal aspect of global trade. By embracing this opportunity, we not only fortify supply chains, but also pave the way for mutual prosperity and resilience in an ever-evolving global economy. With our unparalleled infrastructure and connectivity, we are uniquely positioned to excel in this role, offering a gateway to the Americas and beyond. Our enduring bond with the United States, rooted in decades of security cooperation, exemplifies the strength of our partnership. As I conclude my remarks, I want to remind you that while I talk about Panama's history, the opportunities, and the enduring collaboration between our nations, we only just scratch the surface of what Panama has to offer. I invite you to travel to Panama and experience our country firsthand. Let it be your home away from home. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Martinez. That was terrific. Really appreciate the comprehensive overview of Panama. Certainly learned some things. And now it's time to engage a little bit more in the question and answer period of our time together. For our participants, again, look at the Q&A feature at the bottom right of your screen, and we'll try to get to as many questions as we can. Let me start with the first one. You obviously talked about the Panama Canal. At least what we hear here is that it's facing some water issues, declining water levels. Can you speak about the water issues in Panama and how the government views any challenges?
Yes, of course. The first thing that I think is very important to mention is that even though this severe drought, the Panama Canal has remained fully operational every day, every single day. It has been a reliable passage, and it has been working uninterrupted 365 days a year. Now, while we do not see this drought as a permanent issue, climate change is very unpredictable. Panama is the 5th country that rains the most in the world, but was facing a shortage of rain in the Panama Canal Basin, just in the Panama Canal Basin. So climate change is unfortunately real, and we have to deal with that. So we have been implementing various mitigation measures to manage water. And I think it's important also to mention that the canal is not like other canals in the world that are sea level. Our canal works with locks because as it's not sea level, vessels have to be rising and then lower to cross the canal and then enter the other ocean. And in order to do that, there are 2 artificial lakes that use fresh water, and through these lakes, the locks are filled with water so that the vessels can pass. So I just wanted you just to mention how it works, so that you understand that it needs fresh water. It's not only sea water that is involved in the canal. So that's why we needed to make sure to implement mitigation measures to manage water levels. We have adjusted maximum draft and also the daily transit capacity. We went from 36 transits per day to as low as 22. Then we moved to 24. And just recently, the Panama Canal announced that it has enough water to go back to the 36 daily transits. But the good thing is that every crisis gives you the opportunity to get better. And so by these additional water saving measures, they result in 50% reduction in water usage. And it has also adapted its operation to manage water scarcity. But we're also considering making infrastructure projects in the future to get water from other sources to the artificial lakes in case these climate phenomena happen again.
Oh, thank you.
Now, there are other alternatives, not other alternatives right now, but we have been hearing about similar projects in Nicaragua, Colombia, Mexico. But the Panama Canal's long-lasting reputation and operational excellence and ongoing investment in sustainability, I think we're very, let's put it this way, sure of our capacity to continue giving the service that for a century we have been given to the world.
I appreciate that response. Thank you. From our audience, how has Panama prevented the crime associated with drug cartels found in nearby countries?
Well, that's one of also the partnerships that we have had with the United States is a task force to make sure that we have better intelligence and better technology, and we're better prepared to control drug trafficking that originates, as you said, in other countries. But as Panama is a transit country, it is transit for goods, services, but as well, the criminal organizations use our platform to try to cross drugs. Now, we have implemented a series of strategies in the coast of Panama, and we have been able to seize and interdict record amount of drugs. And that doesn't mean that we have more drug crossing. It's just that we're implementing a better strategy right now, and hopefully that record of interdiction of drugs will deter the criminal cartels from crossing drugs through Panama. Although we have seen that these are very powerful drug cartels, and the only thing that we can do is continue to get better at this intelligence and strategies to prevent drug to use Panama as a pathway.
Understood. Thank you. I'd be somewhat related, but how does Panama view the situation in the Darien Gap?
That's a situation that is, it's new for Panama. The past few years, it has been just a horrible reality. This is a jungle that before 2021 was crossed by less than 8,000 people per year. Now we have seen 2021, 133,000 migrants cross the Darien Gap. In 2022, 250,000, and then in 2023, 520,000 migrants have crossed the Darien Gap. This year, the numbers are the same. We understand that there are countries with lack of economic opportunities, even political persecution, safety issues, but and that that's the root causes of migration in general. But there's also drug cartels involved in human traffic, smuggling, let's put it this way, by lying about opportunities to cross the jungle. What we have been doing, we were the first country to establish shelters to give medical aid, food, and even psychological aid to the people that just enter through the Darien Gap. We have also implemented special forces to counterattack the cartels. And that's not easy, but we have been doing the best we can with the resources that obviously are not, we have limited resources, but we have been in this for 4 years now, and it's difficult, but we continue to deal with this situation in a humane way. But it's is something to be concerned, because numbers are not going down.
Yes, no, appreciate the severity of the challenge there, no question. Here's one. So you may or may not know this. We have a Center for Mesoamerican Studies in Oaxaca, Mexico, and I know Oaxaca is building a train to go from kind of east to west across the state there. So this has to come from somebody who's internal to me, but they're asking if there's shipping activity between Panama and Oaxaca, Mexico.
Not in my knowledge. I know that we have tried to, Panama and Mexico, I think, complement each other, and we have been in talks about doing more in terms of trade and bilateral investment. But specifically, I'm not sure if we're doing anything regarding that port.
No, understood. Thank
Okay.
you. Can you discuss Panama's 7 economic development zones and how they benefit Panama?
Okay, so in addition to the geographic position of Panama, the logistical platform, the maritime platform, and the air hub of the Americas, and the stability of the country, we have created special economic regimes so that companies that establish in Panama are also competitive, economically competitive. We have, I mentioned in the history of Panama, the creation of the Colón Free Zone. That was basically the first important economic space, and it's still the second largest free zone in the world. It's on the Atlantic side, the Caribbean Sea, and it's focused more on trade, warehousing, logistics, and re-export. And it has tax advantages, also import duties elimination, and it significantly continue to grow. There are more than 2,000 companies that are active in this zone. Then on the other hand, on the other side, we have another economic zone, special economic zone called Panama Pacifico, which was a former U.S. Air Force base on the Pacific side next to the Panama Canal. And that one is used more for high-tech manufacturing, logistics, and business services. It attracts multinational corporations. Again, favorable tax incentives, labor regulations that are accessible, easy, legal benefits. The other one that we have, which was again a U.S. military base, is called City of Knowledge, and that is for educational purposes, research, innovation, and technology development. Again, it has tax benefits, but it brings together universities, technology companies, nonprofits, and it's all in a collaborative environment that the idea is that fosters innovation and knowledge exchange. Another economic zone, it's in the province of Chiriquí. It is called the Baru Free Zone, and its focus is more on agriculture, agro-industry, and export-oriented businesses. It supports the development of Panama's agricultural sector. Then we have the multinational headquarter regime, and which is, it was created for multinationals to create their headquarters in Latin America. It provides, again, an array of benefits to multinational enterprises. I think the key with this, as all the regimes, is the special migratory and labor regime that it applies. So basically, multinationals can establish in Panama and send Their persons of trust, technical people from outside of Panama to the establishment of this headquarters. We also recently created, when I was Minister of Commerce, a multinational headquarter, but for manufacturing services. And the idea with this one is to create, to establish operations in Panama for all Latin America, but for the purposes of finishing products, giving support, repair, maintenance, and basically taking advantage of the nearshoring tendencies. What better a place to do it than Panama with now this competitive regime? In Panama, right now, we have close to 200 multinationals that operates from Panama through all the region. But in conclusion, these free trade zones are designated to be strategic, and they all have a focus, but it gives companies a flexibility to understand which of these applies better to their line of business, to their business strategy. And so the idea is to bring just a different options in order for the companies to be more competitive. And that has been very, very important for Panama in terms of the employment that it has created, and also the transference of knowledge. As I mentioned, these multinationals bring technical executive with technical skills and knowledges that Panamanians did not have back then. And now these multinationals are operating mostly with Panamanians that acquire this new knowledge. So these economic zones have been of great importance for the development of Panama, not only economically but socially, and we hope that they can continue to bring companies the best competitive advantages that they need to grow.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Here's a question from somebody in our admissions department who's seeking to get more Panamanian students here. I think they want to know if there's scholarships available either from the U.S. side or the Panamanian side for students from Panama who may be interested in attending college in the U.S.
Yes, through the United States Department and Education Bureau, they make available scholarships, and also in Panama we have programs to give also scholarships to students to study in the United States. We have now a Secretariat of Innovation and Technology that gives away the scholarships, and also institutions that help Panamanians to get education in the United States. So both ways.
Sorry, can you describe a little bit more about Panama's relationship with Colombia and the relationship there?
Colombia is a neighbor of Panama. We have had a very good relationship throughout the years, and is an important partner in terms of commercial activity, cultural exchange, and so yeah, we have had a good relationship throughout the years with Colombia.
I'm curious, maybe a little more personal, right? You obviously have multiple roles in your appointment as ambassador. What do you find to be the most interesting part of your job?
Well, it's a platform that allows for things to happen. The thing that I like the most is to engage with Congress, administration, think tanks, companies. It gives like an ecosystem that allow countries, if you know how to maneuver in Washington to get things done. And I've loved that about this current post that I have, for sure.
Thanks. Yeah, if you can fix the dysfunction right now, we would applaud you loudly. Certainly many challenges on our end. Let me also
Dialogue,
ask, go
dialogue
ahead.
and communication. Be able to get to consensus. That's not only for the United States, but for every country in the world. You need to be more in the middle, try to hear each and every one of the partners. You're not gonna think alike in the majority of times, but you can definitely find common objective, and you should never uh, stop talking to either party, either country, whatever. So that communication, dialogue, it's in my opinion key.
And then I'm curious in your own sort of pre-ambassadorial training, right? Other jobs, excuse me, schooling, whatever. Um, what would you say has sort of helped you achieve your level of success and the particular sort of tips you have for others?
I think every opportunity that you get in your professional life, you need to understand that is something that is helping you at the moment, but most probably it will help you in the future. So learning from other people, it has been key for me in all the aspects and phases of my professional career as lawyer, as advisor of companies, then as Minister of Commerce, and now as ambassador. It's not only important to listen, but really pick up on things that makes you better and you can use later on.
That so just taking that one step further, right? We have students on this webinar, many of whom are interested in international business. As you look forward, right, the world's changing pretty rapidly. Are there particular skills and competencies that you think will help the next generation succeed in a global economy?
That's a very difficult question because the world changes so fast. In geopolitically, technologically wise, artificial intelligence, everything is. We're living in a moment that is kind of complicated to have a clear view of what's going to happen in the future, but hard skills and soft skills. You have to develop your technical skills. Your students are already taking a good step, which is getting that education from San Diego State University. But once you get your technical skills and probably coding, all that sort of learning is good. But I think most importantly is the soft skills. And you have to develop communication skills. Like I said previously, finding common goals, win-win scenarios, new opportunities are all done through successful, persuasive dialogue. And I think we're gonna go to a point where all data is going to be available for everyone. Even coding, everything is going to be there for us, but having those soft skills, I think they're going to make the difference.
Well said. Appreciate that. Thank you, Ambassador Martinez. This concludes our Q&A session. Any final comments from you that you'd like to share with our audience today?
Well, we're living difficult times, but I wish for every one of you to enjoy what you're doing. Take the best out of the experiences that you're living, and get your contacts, have friends, and continue engaging, and be good to the world. And thank you for inviting me, and I hope to see you soon, maybe in San Diego or maybe in Panama or in Washington, but hope to see you soon, and wish you all a safe life.
Thank you so much. Again, I'd like to thank Ambassador Martinez for his time and informative presentation. I'd also like to thank President De La Torre, Chinyi Hostler, and the Charles W. Hostler Institute on World Affairs for hosting this timely and relevant event. We look forward to seeing you all at another event, and thank you for participating today. And this concludes our program.